Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have, as usual, a great show for you today. How are my people doing? I trust everybody's doing fine in the house. Number one today, and by the way, for the Substack folk, if you are on right now, I didn't capture the beginning. So if you have a message, why don't you just tell me your city and state, and a little comment, and I can call that out. But I missed all the ones that you guys put in the beginning. The first person in the house, however, was Patrick Magner from Houston, Texas, followed by AVQ, Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York, followed by Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. We also have Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas, Joe Anna from Los Angeles, California, Jay Ray from Houston, Texas comes in with a roar. And we also have, let's see what else. Patrick Magner was a meow, and he is from Houston, Texas. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. AC Rodriguez, where are you from? ¿De dónde estás? ¿De dónde eres? ¿Eres de Houston? Where are you, brother AC Rodriguez? I think you're here in Houston. Yeah, I think you're here in Houston. But don't make a liar out of me. Just go ahead and let me know for sure. Anyway, folks, we have, let's see what that is. Oh, that's spam. Let's see what else we have. Okay, great. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great program for you today. But I want to start on a sour note. I've been wondering if I should bring up this story that just kind of tell us to look in the mirror a bit, right? And I decided that, yeah, I want to mention it because a lot of times things go unsaid and it doesn't necessarily make things better, right? If we continue to let things go unsaid, it really does not necessarily make things better. And what we are into is making things better, which is what I want to do. Oh, wow. It looks like this stuff isn't updating correctly on the screen for Substack. So let's try to do it again to make sure that we're going to get ahead and do it. I'll try. We have been noticing that Substack have been having a few issues. I think it's growing. It's a new platform that is trying to do some lives, and it's growing. Eric Hayes is in the house from Kingwood, Atascocita, Texas, and we also have Carl Cox in the house from Riverdale, Georgia. Welcome aboard. What else have we got here? Everything else looks nominal. I think everything else is nominal. But yes, we're getting some freezes on Substack. Anyway, AC Rodriguez is from Fresno, California, Central California. That's where they grow a whole lot of stuff. That's where, when I drive from Texas to California, I go through the Central Valley sometimes. Beautiful though, beautiful. Sometimes it looks like a desert though, even though it's the growing area, it does look like a desert. What is happening here? Let's see if we can get a reconnect here and see if it'll start moving. Yeah, it looks like it may start moving now. Let's see if that'll continue. All right. The first story that I want to do is I'm going to put it on the screen. Let me go ahead and put it on. It is a story of let me see how to bring this in. There's this, it goes like this, a video of a Rochester, and I want to show you what the media does, right? The title of the article at the Washington Post was, Mom Raises $500,000 After Appearing to hurl racist slur at child in viral video. The website hosting the fundraiser said it restricted comments after many donors expressed racist rhetoric over the incident filmed at a Minnesota playground. The reason I brought this up, believe it or not, it's not about the racial incident. I really didn't bring it up for that because, these things happen all the time. We want to get rid of it, etc. But we cannot get rid of these things if it is reported the way the Washington Post just did. Mom raises $500K after appearing to hurl racist slur at child in viral video. Now, if I am a person, that is a very sympathetic headline for something that was evil, what that woman did to that child. But we get a title like that, appearing to hurl a racist thing, which immediately throws the burden onto the video guy who captured the incident, right? Well, did she really do it? Did she not do it? I mean, even in the body of the article, it says, shockingly, the woman responsible for this hateful act launched a fundraising campaign, and she admitted to stay in it. Let me see. I called out the kid. This is what she says. I called out the kid for what he was. Hendricks fundraiser reads, adding that a man then began filming her and later posted the video of the encounter online, which caused my family and myself great turmoil. So she admits that she did a racist snarl at the kid, but the headline says appearing to hurl an outright. Now, what gets me again is the deference that's given to MAGA, the deference that's given to racists, the deference that's given to all these folks. But do you ever realize that when things are in the other direction, how it's reported? I mean, again, when I talk about really trying to be deferential with my MAGA brothers and sisters, because I understand a lot of this happens to be how they were reared, how people are reared, what happened. That immediately explains it. We have a society here that continuously tries to protect a certain group, a certain class, a certain race. When you have a delinquent of color do something, immediately the color is stated and the adjectives that they use in these news reports. A person with ill repute, bad, that's been with that had very many legal problems, and they point it out. But in this case, just like in the case with the young man who killed in Frisco, Texas, who killed one of the people who attacked him. He's got charged with first-degree murder. When the person initiating the fight, the contact, was two white brothers that attacked this guy, he stabbed them in self-defense. He told them straight up, "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! If you touch me, you'll get hurt." And these guys decided to do the same. And if you take a look at how the media is covering that story, completely different than how it covered Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse is the guy who, during a Black Lives Matter protest, shot two guys, claiming they were coming at him. These guys are far away from him. He shot both of them, killed them, and he's a hero. These two brothers actually jumped on this guy according to witnesses. And he stabbed them in self-defense. And what happens again? He got charged with first degree murder, and he's as an adult. I bring this up again for a specific reason. I bring this up to point out. That when I have compassion and empathy for my MAGA brothers and sisters, for my brothers and sisters who are racist, for my brothers and sisters who are prejudiced, who are misogynist. The reason I do that is because our culture itself, we are all victims of this culture. And this culture produced these types of things. There's a TikTok that I was watching earlier, and I don't think I liked it. I am so mad that I didn't like it, because this guy came on and he said that he used to be a racist, and he said it wasn't because of my parents. And he gave a story of how his parents were real good people that made sure he knew the right thing. But he said society at large, United States, made me that way. And I see that. And that is the reason why I will not allow the system that creates racists, the system that creates sexists, the system that creates misogynists, the system that creates the evil. I won't allow that to stop trying to bring people together, understanding that they were culturalized, they were reared that way, and that has to be deprogrammed out of the system. Deprogrammed out of the system. Now, after you've tried deprogramming with some, if it doesn't work, then you throw those people away. But we have to start somewhere and not allow, because like I said, I've told many of you this before, capitalism is dependent on racism. Capitalism is dependent on sexism. Capitalism is dependent on misogyny. It's hard to draw the lines, but I've driven the line so many times before in so many of my writings. Okay? All right, let's see what we've got here from our great folks here. Before we get into the core of the program, we have para ver. Did his trial? I don't care about that. Paul says, can you tie the approved take fluoride out of water? Good luck with your teeth and good luck with your children's teeth. The only good thing about it is most toothpaste now you buy has fluoride in it. So I think we'll be okay, but it's just an unscientific way of doing things. It's what drives me crazy. All right, continuing with what you have to say. Egberto Mike Figueredo, the Humanist Report covered that as Matt Walsh proved he is a racist prick. During that video, I couldn't help but laugh in the face of horror. 4.01, as these racists unsuccessfully try to spell out a slur using. Oh my God, I'm going to have to watch that afterwards, my friend. All right, let's see. Carl Cox says, what's TDS? Okay. Somebody answer Carl, please. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, Trump's FTC is planning to lift restrictions on 2 oil CEOs who allegedly colluded with foreign to jack up gas prices. We always told you that inflation was manufactured under Biden, and we pointed how it was done. But you know how that goes. Oftentimes it gets ignored. All right, continuing, we have the video shows they were chasing him. Hayes, keep buying the Kool-Aid. The guy is a murderer. AC Rodriguez says, culture and institutional bias racism is a thing. Those that say otherwise fail to see it because they do not want to. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I am saying that I have a lot of friends, a lot of acquaintances. A lot of them are racist. A lot of them are sexist. A lot of them are misogynist. And some of my more benevolent friends would ask the question, why do I continue to involve myself with them? To which I said, I understand where the cancer came from. And if I go ahead and throw people to the curb, I have allowed the plutocracy, I have allowed the system to win. And I won't do that. The system will not win. Nikki Black is here from Venice. How you doing, Nikki Black? Hello, Nicholas from Venice. Thank you for being here, Nicholas. Venice, California, that is. Lee Grant is from Paravet. I think you're from Montgomery County. And I missed a whole lot of you in Substack, but welcome Curtis, Rebecca, Carol, PR, Shannon, Soy, Kurt, Alex, Macro Shrubby, Dale, Max Bowen, TBM, Norin Dina. Thank you very much for being here. All right, let's see. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome, according to Michael. I remember that. And Michael says, Egberto, link that, the Humanist Report video to your FV message. Okay, I will do that and make sure I do it. Thank you for sending it to me, my brother. All right, before we continue here, let's go ahead and talk about today. We are currently in Teachers Achievement Week or something like that. It's called, it's Teacher Appreciation Week. So any one of you who are teachers out there, I want to point out something very important. I revere you. All of whatever I have become in life, it's because of my teachers from kindergarten right up to college and beyond. There's a special feeling in my heart towards teachers. And I'm glad that Stephanie Rule did a little something for them last night. And I want to go ahead and play that.
The last thing before we go tonight, inspiring the next generation. We were just talking about the fact that this is Teacher Appreciation Week. So we wanted to highlight an exceptional educator, Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year, Leon Smith. He's a high school history teacher on a mission to recruit others to join the profession he loves. He recently spoke with a colleague I love, Craig Melvin, about how teaching changed his own life.
My first year, I felt like a superhero that didn't know how to use their powers. But now I'm much more intentional and I understand the impact that an educator can have. Our education system has not always embraced students of color. I think that sometimes their experiences have not always been positive. And I've had students of color say to me, Mr. Smith, I would never want to come back. I will say to students, be the teacher you wish you had. You can be that person for the next generation. I love teaching. I think it's like one of the most vital professions in our society. So I really felt a great sense of purpose that I was chosen for this.
Thank you to Mr. Smith and to all the teachers out there. None of us would be here, certainly not me, without you. And on that.
Certainly not me. Certainly not all of us. From the doctors to the lawyers to the engineers to the janitors to the teachers. Or, I in one of my articles, I put teachers are the ones who keep moving knowledge forward. Absent teachers, knowledge stops. It ends. And again, teachers aren't necessarily just the ones in a high school or the ones in a college, but there are natural teachers out there that are out there doing Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, that are doing MLM. They're doing a whole lot of different things. So let's love on our teachers and let's remember that teachers are in fact the most important job bar none. And that we don't, in fact, I revere teachers. In many of my articles, I have written that teaching is the most valuable profession because it is the genesis of every profession. Yet, the relatively low pay and disrespect they receive do not speak well for the future of our country. We must fix this sooner rather than later. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week. It is so important. Back in Panama, whenever you saw a teacher, you stood up straight. If you saw a teacher in a grocery store, you came at attention. La licenciada. está ahí. I mean, we are very respectful to our teachers. And it was a shock to me, the disregard with which teachers are treated here in the United States. And that professions like stockbrokers and all these people that offer nothing to humanity actually get the kudos that they get. But we can change all of that. We can change all of that. All right, those of you that are on Substack, please remember, if you want to cue me on saying something or doing something or talking about something, put it in that chat message. If you're on your phone, you can put it in that little chat message below the video. If you're watching it on the computer, there's a chat screen. If you click on the video itself, it gives you a new video screen with a message window where you can actually type messages. Just letting you know. AC Rodriguez says public sector workers, especially teachers, should be given benefits similar to the military. I agree. Paul Fleming says, yep. I have sisters that are teachers. I have aunties that are teachers. I myself consider myself a teacher because I taught sports, and I have several children that went on to play professional sports. And in the beginning, I taught them if they didn't have the grades, that they could not play on my team, emphasizing that school comes first. Very good thought, and very good teachings for your kids. All right. I have a video for you. This is the only, should I play the video right now or should we move on? I tell you what, I'll play the video now, and then there are 2 TikToks I want you guys to listen to, 2 very important ones that I found this morning. But let's go to the video and then we'll move on from there. Para ver, here we go. Everyone who follows Trump, works with Trump professionally, has always had their reputation destroyed or their lives destroyed. And the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, is no different. It was embarrassing to watch him in the hearing today with respect to tariffs when he was asked a simple question. Who pays the tariffs? Who pays Trump's taxes? Who pays the tariffs that Trump created? And it's simple. It is all the Americans who buy products. They pay the tariffs because, again, the supplier is going to pay it at the port, and that charge is automatically passed on to the consumer. Economics 101. But in order to serve Donald Trump, one has to become as moronic, as unintelligent, as lacking of intellect that Donald Trump possesses. And why? Because if one ever seems to disagree with Trump, if one of his minions ever seem to be more intelligent than Trump, that goes against Trump's own ego, because as a narcissist, he just cannot have anyone but him being on top. So therefore, we have otherwise intelligent people like Marco Rubio, otherwise intelligent people like Scott Bessent, otherwise intelligent people like many of the other characters that work for him. I'm not talking about the sycophants like, let's say, Hegseth, who is a complete incompetent drunk, but or his transportation secretary. But he has a few, or his education secretary who thinks AI is actually A1 steak sauce. I don't know. We ought to, first of all, I tell you what, let's take a listen to this segment from O'Donnell's show, and then we'll take it on the other side. This is embarrassing.
Donald Trump, in that idiotic statement, invited yet another focus on his choice to be the Scrooge president, which is what Republican political analyst Karl Rove is now calling him, the Scrooge president. Donald Trump's example of there being only $2 under the Christmas tree this year, which earned him the nickname Donnie $2 on this program last week, has quickly and vividly taught any Americans who did not already understand it that we are the ones, and the only ones, who will pay the Trump tariffs. Every penny of an American tariff, every penny of a Trump tariff will be paid and can only be paid in the United States by American companies and consumers. Tariff revenue enters the Treasury of the United States only from within the United States. Every Treasury Secretary from the first, Alexander Hamilton onward, has known that. Every member of Congress has always known that. Every member of the Senate, every president always knew that. But today, with Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary testifying to Congress, knowing that lying is against the law, he tried desperately to evade a very simple question posed by our first guest tonight. Who pays tariffs?
Who pays tariffs?
Sorry, well...
Who pays tariffs?
Sorry,
Mr. Secretary, please.
Excuse me.
The question is very simply, who pays tariffs, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I'd like him to answer that question. He wants to answer other questions.
Well, Congressman, if the exporters, they dislike tariffs so much, why wouldn't they, if, I think what you're trying to get me to say...
Did you remember the question? I'm not sure you did. Who pays tariffs?
It's a very complicated question.
Reclaiming my time. People pay tariffs, right? Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary. As a small business owner, and unfortunately, I'd like that time back since you failed to recognize me for 30 seconds. So I just recently, from one of my suppliers, got the tariff surcharge on things. And in addition to the tariff surcharge, guess what else got raised? American-made walnut plaques. That has nothing to do with tariffs, but companies take advantage and do that. So right now, we are getting screwed right and left because of the indiscriminate use of tariffs. That's the reality for Main Street. So I'll ask one more time, who pays tariffs?
Sir, the history would show that it is a complicated mix of who pays the tariffs over various times.
So that's exactly the problem. If your answer, and you are a very educated person, you have a very impressive bio, cannot answer the question who pays tariffs because you won't answer that, and you say it's a complicated issue, it's not complicated. Consumers pay Trump's tariff tax. That's the reality.
You just saw a Treasury Secretary flunk an introductory economics course on TV.
So yes, Scott, Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary, simply could not open his mouth to tell the truth. And he couldn't, because once he did that, he would be fired and his career would be over. It is sad to see that this is what it means to be someone who works for Trump. Now, look, let's be clear. The storm is coming, because while Donald Trump is delusional, while Donald Trump has nothing to lose, while Donald Trump is using these tariffs, and one of the reasons, if you look at his interview or the back and forth he had with the reporters and the presser today, when they asked if there's any way he was going to drop the tariffs, he's absolutely said no, is that he needs the tariff for the tax cuts to work. For it to work, that's all he got. That's the only other stream of revenue he has. Taking the monies from the poor and middle class people into the Treasury of the United States so that that money can be transferred immediately to the wealthy with a tax cut. Again, our MAGA brothers and sisters, or people in rural America who are going to lose their hospitals, who are going to lose their many of their postal workers, who are going to use many of their federal workers, which will devastate the economy of many rural areas where the highest paid workers are, in fact, these government workers who spend their monies in the restaurants in these small towns, in the gift shops in these small towns, in the bars in these small towns. That money will no longer be there. That high salary from the government for good work will no longer be there. And all of that to pay for a tax cut to wealthy folks. You want to know what's interesting? If you want to see where their heads are at, ask the Republicans to do the following. Okay, let's make sure and keep the tax cuts for all folks making under $400,000. And let the taxes for those people who make more expire. And in fact, apply a tax cut commensurate with all the tax increase commensurate with all the tax cuts that have blown the budget in the past. And you'll get crickets. They will not do that because they don't care about the pennies that the middle class and the poor will get in tax cuts. It's pennies. And you know what? After the middle class and poor gets that tax cut, all of it is going to be recovered by the corporatocracy by simply juicing up inflation, juicing up the prices of medical care, etc. So they'll take the money right back as soon as they give you that tax cut. We have to understand how these things work, folks. It's a shame that too many just won't get it because we have a media that doesn't spend enough time on educating our folk. But you know what? That's where we are. And that's where we come in. That's where Politics Done Right comes in to fill that gap that these media, mainstream media conglomerates refuse to do because it likely would affect their bottom lines. Now, if you remember, Paul Fleming brought a story where he said Trump's FTC is planning to lift restrictions on 2 oil CEOs who allegedly colluded with foreign governments to jack up gas prices. Believe it or not, look at how all this ties in. I just pointed out that, hey, any tax cut the lower classes get, it's just a temporary tax cut that the wealthy takes right back from them. That story about collusion and gas prices. So you get a tax cut, but your gas prices go up. They take the money right back from you, and it goes right back to the people who have price and power, the people who take the people who profit off of on your backs. You know, on my morning show, I get some people that says, "Why are you always after the plutocracy? Why are you always after rich people?" It's not that I'm after rich people. It's that people get rich by defrauding you legally, but they get rich doing it. And if you don't understand the concepts of how our economic system works, that goes right over your head. One of the things we try to do here is we try to give people information that they have, that they can see how they're being ripped off, how their vote, I had a great piece from, and I'm so sorry I haven't yet converted it into a standalone, but a woman called, Uju called in this morning and gave a clippable piece to the show. I'm going to cut that and I'll probably play that tomorrow. Listen to what else Magner had to say. Magner says, "My brother taught organic chemistry. Let me tell you, organic chemistry is one of the hardest sciences in the science subjects at college. Organic chemistry, heat transfer, fluid dynamics, kinematics. Those are the very difficult courses in science whenever you take these courses. In the case of physics, the Gaussian laws, etc. In the second part of physics, which is electricity and magnetism. Those are difficult courses." Patrick says, "My brother taught organic chemistry. I earned more than he did. His job and education is superior to mine. It makes no sense." That is my point, Patrick. We have a system that was you have to realize this. When this economic system was formed, it's a bunch of guys that form it. They have capital and they decide what the rules of the games are. The rules are what the rules are. So therefore, in our economic system, capital is king, right? So if you have capital, you can be dumb as a rock and be wealthy and eat in expensive restaurants and make a lot of money, because this type of economic systems allows you to make money on the back of others. There's nothing that says somebody who has capital is inherently deserving of that capital. What did they do to earn it? However, the person who invented liver transplants, the person who invented the RNA vaccine, all these people, they don't get capital appreciation. They get a salary and that's it. You know, I want to show you guys the biggest fraud. This is what they say. If we don't allow these huge profits to these thieves, if we don't allow them to appreciate their money this way, then that will hurt innovation. That will hurt the creation. No. That is the biggest lie. That is the biggest fraud. Let me show you how you can understand that is a fraud. Check this out. The people who have the patents, the people whose mind thought up of Starlink, the people whose mind are the brains of those electric cars, they get a salary. They don't get all this stock appreciation unless they buy some, etc. But they don't get like super wealthy. It's just the few who have capital who did nothing who did absolutely nothing, that actually gets the spoils from these inventions. So therefore, these inventions occurred without the need to have an inordinate amount of profit. And I can explain that easily. I'm an engineer. I worked hours and hours and hours to develop products and to develop algorithms, hours and hours. And I'm talking when I was employed by somebody else. I only worked in the corporate sector for 5 years. And then I went on my own. But I worked hours and hours for a salary just to see things work. I remember going to NL McCullough industry. We built downhole tools, and I remember working on the bond tool. That's a tool that sends signals out inside of a casing to determine if your tool is centralized, so you can know where to blow the holes in the casing to get the oil to come out. And I remember spending hours, midnight, 1 a.m, the only person in that entire research department. That didn't mean I was getting overtime. I didn't. It was for the salary. Engineers, lawyers, doctors, many folks who are on salaries and even hourly, they don't need to get rich to get the work done, to invent things. It is just most of us, that's how we are. The greedy ones are the capitalists. They're the ones that produce nothing. They go to bed, they go to the expensive restaurants. The rest of us work. Do not ever feel subservient to the wealthy. Do not ever feel less than the wealthy, because it is you. It is you, whether you are sweeping floors, whether you are a secretary, whether you are a doctor, lawyer, engineer, teacher, whatever you are productive and you are making this society go by. The capitalists do nothing other than flaunt the capital that they have. It's the economic system we created, and it's the economic system that we have indoctrinated you into believing is the only way for things to get done. The fact that medicine is invented by taxpayers, and when it's time to market it, it goes to the capitalists, who then charge you a fortune, and if you don't have enough money, you just die. We have to educate ourselves and stop allowing them to fool you into think. If you think that there's a better system, you're a communist, you're a socialist. No, it's not either or either. It's what works. Don't allow yourself to be indoctrinated. That is what is look, all these isms are the tools that the capitalists use. You know, there was a time back in the 1800s, I can't remember exactly when you had all these people, indigenous people, black people, white people, all these people of the same class getting together. It scared the holy hell out of the capitalists then. And that's when all these laws that came in to make a particular group feel that I am above you, and hey, you feel like at least you're not them. Suddenly, we can have some controls. We can't allow the isms, how we were reared, to keep doing that to us, folks. We can't. Carl Cox says, teachers, yes. Department of Education, yes. Crony capitalism, no. I am with you. Harry Denson. Hey, Harry, how you doing, brother? He says, good afternoon, Egberto. Harry Denson, you said you do not care about the Puff Diddy case. Could you tell me and your audience why you do not care about this case? Let me explain something about, and this goes into this argument as well when I talk about capitalism, right? And I want everybody to listen to me in detail here. And I'm going to use black billionaires right now, and because it's very important. P. Diddy, billionaire. Beyonce, billionaire. Oprah Winfrey, billionaire. The guy who paid off the medical debt of a lot of students at Morehouse, billionaire. A lot of these guys are billionaires, right? A lot of us are out here, a lot of us progressives are out here fighting hard because we claim that Donald Trump is an autocrat. It is true. We claim that capitalism is squeezing the middle class and the poor. It is true. Now, in order for Donald Trump to get elected, because remember, the policies that Donald Trump stands for, they're not popular. The policies that progressives stand for are very popular. Now, Kamala Harris wasn't giving us all that we wanted, but it was better than what Donald Trump was going to give. So what Donald Trump did to win was use racism, sexism, and all the isms to win, create dissension among people. Now, we all know that all these things are bad. Now, P. Diddy knows racism. Oprah Winfrey knows racism. Beyonce knows racism. All these isms, they understand. But yet, in this progressive movement, you would think if Donald Trump is an existential problem, if Donald Trump is really, really, really that guy that is so dangerous, and these people like P. Diddy and all these guys cared, they would have invested in the progressive movement en masse, because they would have said, the progressive movement doesn't need a lot of money like the right wing, because when you're dealing with the truth, it doesn't take a lot of money. These different folks would have said, we need to join the progressive movement for our own existence. But you see, why I run with all my MAGA and everybody else, it was never about race. It was never about gender. It was never about any of these issues. It was always about class and being invited into the class. Let me go a bit further. And again, Oprah Winfrey is a great person. She talks well and she has a great show. But I could give you 1,000 different people similar to Oprah that can give a good show. Beyonce is a great singer and gives a good show. I can give you thousands of people that are great singers and give a big show. All the entertainers, all the business people that we know that are wealthy and have capital, I could show you many other people that could have that wealth and capital just like they were. Here's the difference. We were led to believe that America is a meritocracy. America has never been a meritocracy, meaning you get ahead by your merit and your hard work. It was never that. America was always the place where you got invited to succeed. Yes, you can live a good life if you're a hard worker and bust your butt. I did. I formed Willie's Computer Software Company, created my own software, flew to China, flew everywhere. The Defense Department, NASA, everybody used the software that I was doing in SCADA. But I never was going to be Bill Gates. Because I wasn't invited. I was not invited. You have to be invited to the game. There's so many of you out there that are no less or no more than those who have capital, than those who made it big. You know, there was a gatekeeper, right? And I'm going to go off topic a little bit here. There's a gatekeeper. I'm going to stick with music for a while. I remember when you had the record companies, they were always the gatekeepers to music, right? So you go to Motown or you go to any one of these record companies, and they decided if they liked you, and if they liked you and they thought you could make them money, they would invite you into success. They would invite you. There are thousands of other people singing in churches that are just as good. They would invite you to make your record. They would invite you. Now, when the internet came early on, I always wrote papers about the democratization of everything, meaning with the internet, You can be whatever you want to be. That's what I said. And I had, at the time, I had a computer. My computer company was going into dial-ups and all that kind of BBS and internet type system. And I laid out like 15 computers, and I brought Jack and Jill in, a bunch of kids in, to take lessons in being able to use the internet. And I set up a big network in my office, because I was going to tell kids, do you know what's special about the internet? You can be whatever you want to be, and you don't have to use gender as an excuse. You don't have to use race as an excuse, because on the internet, your work speaks for you. They don't have to see you. You can have a lot of different things you can do. And I taught that to these young, anywhere from 8th graders right up to seniors. I taught them that in my little seminar that I had with Jack and Jill and a couple other groups. Because my thing was always to beat the system, right? And that's what the internet was going to do until the gatekeepers came. And that's what capitalism does. It eats up everything, and it finds a way. In other words, where the internet was virtually free, they find a way to get rid of things. That's where we got rid of net neutrality and all these things. They found a way to monetize who will make it on the internet. So now, whereas you could go on the internet and create your own profile and become big, the masters of the internet designed this thing known as channeling. So I'm on. I get throttled. Throttling. I'm on. I pay my dues to have a very high-speed gigabit network. But still, all the platforms where you can watch politics done right, whether it be Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Live, Substack, all these different platforms, there is a gatekeeper now. And that gatekeeper is like a traffic cop that says, I'm going to allow these folks to see you. I'm going to allow these folks to see you. Whereas it was laissez-faire, that whoever got there first got there. So now the capitalists that own all these different platforms and the channels that your data is flowing through, and with Trump and them eliminating net neutrality, it puts us right back again where we get capitalists controlling the gates, and you're no longer a meritocracy. So even as I'm doing this right here to get to you, I have a bunch of avenues. Believe it or not, my best secure way of getting to you is the good old email. I can reach 20, 30,000 people by email. They limit, even though I should be able to reach a lot more through all these avenues. Look, you can watch me right now. TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, all of these. But they limit the amount of you that are actually gonna get the signal, right? And I guess if I get too controversial, that would continue to happen a bit more. What I'm trying to tell you folks is the following. This fight is not going to be televised, number one. Number two, we have to be proactive in understanding how this works. And also, and this is where I get self-serving, you have to make sure that guys like me, not only me, I'm not the only one preaching this truth. Others are doing it. But we need your support. We need you to subscribe to our channels. We need you to subscribe to our Substacks and become paid subscribers so we can continue to do this, because you're not invited. We have to bully our way through emails. If I want to get maximal throughput emails to our people, this is what's happening. This is what you need to know. And that is what we have to do, people. We can't continue to be fooled by a corporatocracy that's working in disguise. Independent Voter One says, I was constantly approached on LinkedIn by a company that wanted me to pay for membership to be considered for company board positions to improve my resume. Pay to play. That's America, right? And that's what I am talking about. And when we understand, you get a big star that come out today and it's like, whoa, this is the next big thing. How much of that is organic, right? And that we can get there, people. We can actually get there. But to get there, we have to bust up the fallacies that people believe. All right, I talked so much, I made a lot of messages go by. AC Rodriguez and the steak sauce with McMahon. I remember that our Department of Education is run by a moron as well, who thinks that AI is A1 steak sauce. Amazing, right? Patrick says, "Pay the commons back for the last tax cut. It was sold to us that it would help the economy. It did not." Maywood, let's see. Carl Cox says, "Suppose news media are owned by corporations who won't stories critical mega corporations." True. Lee the Bearcat said, "Did Biden admin still reserve for political reasons to get the price down?" Yes. And that was a fight against the plutocracy, but there's just so much power you have from releasing from the reserve. Yes, he did. Michael then said, "Egberto figured out long time ago in just 5 years that this labor made his wealthy bosses wealthier, that it wasn't the communities he cared about who were profiting, but that's just capitalism, as the capitalist profits from the excessive value of their employees' labor." And that's the thing that you have to understand. Every rich person that you see out there, that is a piece of your work. Every rich person you see, that is a piece of your work that was stolen legally, but stolen nonetheless. Let's see. Steigen, Bergen Greek, capitalism is evil. Yeah, it takes advantage. Yeah, you're right. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. I love this is funny. Lee Grant says, right to Steigen, Bergen Creek, but he said, but it lets us have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff that, we would have had anyway, right? We would have had it anyway. All right. Patrick Magner, Bill Gates is trying to privatize the climate movement and has intentionally sabotaged climate talks and treaties. And again, this is where these tech bros think that they know more than anybody else because of the wealth they are able to accumulate, even as that wealth was not created with their intellect. They think that wealth is equivalent to intellect. It is not. And that is when we understand that, we can make progress. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, anybody thank you guys in Substack as well. You guys in Substack didn't put as many messages as you did this morning. In Substack this morning, the messages were just going haywire. Don't forget, if you're on the phone, you can just click on the little right under the picture to put your message, or elsewhere. The two TikToks that I wanted to show are not, we don't have the time to do it with my long rant. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put the two links that I really want you guys to take a look at, okay? And then, of course, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the link to the Daily Kos, article for this program today, and you can go right there and check out the TikToks that I'm talking about. Whoops, that must not be it. Let me go ahead and fix that for you. Egberto, ¿qué es lo que te pasa, hermano? Let's see. I think this is it. Let's do this. I'm going to put the link that contains the entire shows today. And yeah, click on that link. And on that link, you will have, let me click on it to make sure it works. Yep, that looks like it works. Okay. Yeah, that link contains the two TikToks that I want you to watch. One, it's about DEI and Trump's people, and the other one is about citizens being able to be deported. So I want you to take a look at that. All right, folks, I'm going to have to get out of here, but before I get out of here, I got to do my ask. Look, we work hard to promote the truth. We work hard to inform. We work hard to make sure people know what's really happening, unlike what you're going to get in the mainstream media. My ask is that you please support the program however you can. And the best way to support the program is to become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And how do you do that? You can become a paid subscriber by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And I'm putting it in both feeds. I'm putting it there in the feed as well for Substack. You can become, if you become a paid subscriber of our Substack newsletter, remember what you get. You get a chance to also, all our books are online. So therefore, a paid subscriber can read all our books on the Substack, and let me go ahead and get to that site to show you what it's looked like. Bear with me 1 second as I do that. egberto.substack.com. All right, if you go ahead and visit our site, let me put that on. Donde está aquí? All right. If you go ahead and become a paid subscriber, this link opens up for you, the one that says My Books, and you'll get a chance to look. Right now, everybody can see this. You get a chance to read all of my books online. And that is a perk. Look, a lot of people don't even care about that. They just want to understand and support what we do, which is very important. This is a lot of work, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it is something that I've dedicated my life to. And I intend to continue doing it no matter what. What I'm asking for is to get our supporters to support the project. This is what we need. We need several people doing all of this. I've helped a couple of others starting to do this as well, because the mainstream media is not going to save us. The Democratic Party is not going to save us. We're going to save ourselves. But to do that, we also need to be informed. And that's what I've dedicated myself for: informing. Activism. That's what it's all about. So please go ahead, if you have the wherewithal to do so, to become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. And again, to do that, you simply need to go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And I'm putting that again in the chat. Or if you want, you can also support us via our Patreon. And our Patreon is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. And I'm putting that in both chats as well. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. But again, I'm really pushing to try to get our subscription base up. Whenever I reach 1,000 subscriptions, paid subscriptions, I will be at that magical thing that Substack gives a little bit more perks to. And that will allow us to even further our message. Just like Jim Acosta and all these guys that just came in and used their gravitas to move on, you guys can help us get there by just becoming paid subscribers of our newsletter. All right. I got to get out of here. It's 4:01. I love you all. Thank you all. You need to talk to me directly. info@politicsdoneright.com. info@politicsdoneright.com. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.